Guys, 1 in 3 families is affected by some form of parental alienation. You know somebody, I know somebody, we all know somebody. Guys, we've got to keep continuing to spread this awareness. We need to be coming together and breaking the silence. We need to start getting here and taking some action and accountability and stop sitting on the couch. Get off the couch, because that don't do nothing for nobody. I'm Philly Slim. Don't forget, what we do today, it affects our tomorrow.
Courts have a financial incentive to take our children from us, to take us as parents, most often fathers, but also mothers. They reduce us down to visitors to justify child support order. And when they justify child support order, the state then receives federal funding through what's known as Title IV-D of the Social Security Act.
I did a great job and raised them myself pretty much. Their mom did what she had to do to help out, but she didn't allow the system to come in and force me to raise my own kids.
My daughter died. No one told me. And her mother still collected child support.
Let's go, Sarah. Come on, sweetie. Yeah, I understand, sweetie.
You know, I know a lot of you are going through the very same things that I'm going through right now.
I spent 15 years in prison because I didn't have my biological father there to influence me.
Anything you want to say? You're being accused of shooting a cop, killing him.
Society not letting me see my son. I lashed out at somebody that didn't deserve it.
85% of youths in prison were raised by single moms.
I haven't seen my son since November.
Like I said, I got one I ain't seen in 15 years.
I haven't seen my kids since December 2013.
I've been on house arrest for 2 years now for wanting to be in my daughter's life and being a father.
This doesn't just happen to men, this also happens to women. Mothers are alienated as well.
I'm personally a victim of a corrupt family law system.
They're being told by their father that your mother don't want you. She abandoned you. Do you know what this is doing to my children?
As President of the United States, I will do everything I can to address this inequality and impact those.
Casualties of war. Warriors against the regime.
When people hear of Valhalla Project, the first thing they might think of is our shirts. But what most people don't know is that our plaques came first and the t-shirts came from believable people. Whether it's donating our proceeds to reduce veteran suicide or gifting handcrafted memorial plaques to the families of fallen heroes, these t-shirts simply stand for honor and freedom, 2 words that wouldn't exist without our heroes. This makes Till Valhalla Project a place where fallen heroes truly live on forever.
Tip me over and pour me out.
If you're struggling with thoughts of suicide, or worried about a friend or loved one, or in need of emotional support, help is available. It's free, confidential, and available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Even if it feels like it, you are not alone.
It was such like a tug of war with whose side are you going to choose. I realized like it was just tearing me apart.
It was always, you're on my side or to me.
The first time my dad...
Think that your child wants nothing to do with you because of what they've been taught.
One parent gets to be a parent and the other gets to be, at best, a visitor, and at worst, completely erased. And a lot of it has to do with our judicial system.
What I remember about being in court was having to lie to the judge. Sorry.
It destroys lives, it bankrupts people every day, it tears children from their homes, and just so happens to be a $50 billion a year industry.
If you don't pay your child support, you're gonna go to jail.
Walter Scott decided to bolt from his car. Court documents show he owed more than $18,000 in child support payments.
These fathers are not deadbeat, they're dead broke.
Nothing I said mattered. None of the evidence I brought forward mattered. The judge wouldn't even look at it.
He's dealing with this. That's over 22 million children. And the mental health consequences are severe and long-lasting.
It's heartbreaking to me to see how many of you are dealing with this.
My dad was erased from my life.
It's happening all over the world.
This isn't a father's rights issue. It's not a mother's rights issue. It's a human right issue.
My daughter here and I have been alienated from each other
for the majority of her life. She called me and said, "Dad, it's time to move home," and she came home.
If the court worked in a way where there was 50-50 custody, I'd be happier. I wouldn't feel a void because I've never known a life where one parent wasn't missing.
A new bill would make default custody 50-50.
How come we don't have shared parenting in the law? It's called special interests.
We need more clarity in law to support what is best for children, shared parenting, and this helps move in that direction.
I want to show people that it can have a happy ending.
In about 10 minutes, we're going to leave for the courthouse so I can legally readopt my daughter.
Good.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Oh boy. We just found it. Our back and forth. Victory. Fumble. Repeat. It always came back.
Dad!
Whoa!
You made time.
That was perfect.
Okay, here we go, throw it.
Yeah.
You probably don't remember what you told me. But I heard every word.
How does parental alienation affect a child? What do adults say about having lived through the experience of one parent turning them against the other parent so that the relationship was erased? A study of 40 adults by Dr. Amy Baker showed that it significantly hurt their development as people. Losing a parent because of the other parent's wrongful interference deeply affected their sense of identity, how they feel about themselves, and how they feel about the world. The more exposure to parental alienation strategies by an alienating parent, the more likely the kids are to grow up to be depressed, anxious, have insecure relationships, and be stuck developmentally in their life. Adults who are alienated as children have a reduced ability to get along with other people and have healthy, mature relationships. The reason? The favored parent created a dependency which interrupted the normal development of critical thinking skills and ability to resolve conflict. Alienating parents teach children the opposite of what healthy parents teach their children. They never learn to resolve conflict in a respectful way because they never learned good values of forgiveness, generosity, and compassion. It's fairly settled science that exposure to alienation is associated with bad outcomes. Causing parental alienation in a child is a form of psychological maltreatment. To learn more about parental alienation strategies, watch the video 17 Parental Alienation Strategies of One Parent Against Another.
We go by many names. Dad, Padre, sometimes old man. Usually it's Daddy. Daddy's the favorite. But they all mean the same thing. They all mean father, a man in relationship with his children. We're the Father's Rights Movement. Because every child deserves a father. We're working for justice in the family court system. Support fathers' rights. Come join us today.
Dear Mom and Dad, I know that you are hurting. I'm hurting too. I feel and feed off your tension, fear, and shock. Although I am young and cannot express verbally what is happening in our lives, I'm still feeling the impact. My heart is broken every time I have to give up a parent. My sense of security is lost. Please don't assume that I am resilient. Please don't assume that my life will be exactly as it was, and that I will continue to feel the same love from both of you. I am a human being just like you. My needs are just like yours. I need love, attention, nurturing, stability, consistency, affection, understanding, patience, and mostly to be wanted. When you fight over me or put me in the middle of your argument, you are sending me the message that winning with each other is more important than my life. I am learning from you that it is better to be right than to be loved. You are teaching me that I came from a person who is unlovable and wrong, and that I am somehow wrong too. When you confide your hurt in my heart, it tells me to become hard and not to love because I will get hurt and not be able to recover. You may not understand this today, and I am so small that you are not thinking about my future, but you are putting me at a greater risk of getting a divorce myself. At times you are risking my safety to fill a void in your heart. My safety is your job. Without you and your protection, I am unshielded from the world. This will manifest in irrational fears for me, because I will stay in a state of fight or flight for most of my life. Someday, this initial shock will wear off, but how you choose to parent me through this crisis will never wear off. I will either feel your sense of selflessness, support, protection, or I will have a scar on my heart with a message that reads, "Good things happen to good people. I must be bad." Thoughtfully, the child of divorce.
I just wasn't going to allow my kids to grow up without their father.
And having absolutely no relationship with him, it hurts. It really does.
I'm a business owner. I'm an elected official. But the courts didn't think I was good enough to raise my kids.
There could be no system that would be designed to hurt the family more than the family court system in its present form.
They're not protecting the kids because they are cutting one parent out of the life of a child just because two adults can't get along.
What do people do when their children are taken away? And she said, poor.
I've been through 43 false allegations, not one conviction, not one arrest.
Lawyers, judges have financial gain. Social workers and people that are in the community, our jobs really is to
With depression, one of the most important things you could realize is that you're not alone. You're not the first to go through it. You're not going to be the last to go through it. And oftentimes it happens. You feel like you're alone and you feel like it's only you and you're in your bubble. And I wish I had someone at that time who could just pull me aside and, hey, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. So I wish I knew that. Just got to remember, hold on to that fundamental quality of faith. Have faith that on the other side of your pain is something good.
It's a long road. It's hard.
Suicide is not inevitable for anyone. There's no shame in key steps that you can take to help someone who's struggling.
And then help them refocus on their reasons for living.
In person, over the phone, or however else you can.
Connect them to helpful resources, like the National Suicide Prevention Hotline.
And follow up. Text, call, or see them in person to help reinforce their connectedness to the world.
Please click the link below for further information on suicide prevention resources.
live. I don't know, Brian, can you come on and verify that? I do want to give a shout out to Brian. I get a lot of credit and recognition for things like this, but I won. But got that every got the entire shared room rambling to myself and Levi's bird here. A lot of stuff in the works at the state level, all across the country. You're going to hear some state leaders. We're going to have Jamie Ray Gregg, who is going to be pretty much one of my go-to guys, forming a parenting caucus of parenting legislators across the country. And we're pretty fortunate here in Missouri that we've got one of the best. We've already had Jim Murphy, who helped sponsor equal shared parenting bill passed in Missouri. People saying the audio. I wonder, is it Brian? I have too many things on because my YouTube is going on by Wi-Fi, and so is my Ray Gregg on. We're also going to have Representative Mary Dye from the state of Washington, who sponsored the Nation for Boys and Men. We've got a break. Let me see if I can get closer to my Wi-Fi and see if it helps out. We are going to have, we've got a couple of videos. So while we're playing the video a little bit here, I'm going to see what I can do, some of the sound and some of the problems with that. Anyways, program, but it's very needed today, guys. We have a lot of things going on, not only at the level, but at the federal level. We have more going on than we've ever done. And I'm not trying to overhype this. I know this is the best it's ever been. They're trying to the melodramatic here. I just mean very sincerely. If you've been watching my Facebook page for years, we've been needing to get inside the White House administration, inside HHS, inside US, like CPAC and Research Council. Some of the last 90 days, but especially in the last 20 days, you realize we are where we need to be. I now have 13 contacts inside the White House administration, and that's just that. Some of you have seen Facebook Live with pictures. Some of you saw me with Tulsi Gabbard. Even ran into her when I was at the White House one day. It was kind of funny. I didn't even realize she. I kind of bumped into her, and I turned around. I'm like, oh my god! Hey, picture real quick, Tulsi. So we got a picture of her and I in the West. I say to Brian, but I say that because sometimes you get these yahoos out there that say, well, he's saying he's doing anything, but he's not. They are doing something. We're about to get 30 witnesses that we're doing something, because some of them are going to be coming with me in about 35 days to Washington, D.C. So you're going to be able to see for yourself. And that's one of the reasons we're doing this today, is I'm looking for people with me, but I'm looking for vetted people. I'm not sure that people are going to create the image that we need when we're in Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C., a whole different level. When you're a polo or a t-shirt or things like that. When you're in Washington, D.C. at the Russell Building, the Hart Building, or the Dirksen Building, there is a culture there. It stands out like a sore thumb if you are not part of the culture, at least understanding culture and understanding art and science about how to deal with legislators at the federal level. We're going to be covering today, so I encourage you to tune on for the levels of what we're going to be doing in D.C. and how you can be a part of it if you want to. Too, guys, we are recording this, so we're going to be able to correct some of that. It does look like so if we're lagging, I can move closer to my Wi-Fi in the video, so I don't know what the is going to look like, but hopefully we'll get a better connection by doing that. So I apologize for that, guys. Program, I'd like some leaders. I'm make sure, guys, this isn't the Mark Ludwig show. Anytime somebody tries to get you to believe that they're the end-all leader, the number one thing I look for in leaders is edifying other leaders. Or are they just talking about themselves? I want to know, are they glad that there's other people in the community? If you're isolated, it's a very scary place to be. But we've got some great leaders. And first off, like I said, I do want to give a huge thank you to Brian Lee. He has been just unbelievable for us. Really appreciate Brian. I do want to thank some other leaders across the country. I know we have the dad. I hope he got it because I was hoping it was going to be a surprise. But when I was at the White House, I got 2 notebooks. These are the actual notebooks that all picked up 2. And got one for myself and one for Ryan Powell because he's just been such a great friend and everything like that. So I shipped it to him. I'm hoping he got it yesterday. If not, I blew the surprise, and he's going to get it in the mail tomorrow. But I want to thank Ryan. I do want to thank the present father. Randy had some good conversations with him. Haley Rochelle down in Texas, another great influencer. I believe Haley's going to be coming with me to DC. I think the Dadvocate is for sure coming. I want to thank the 24/7 Dad. Dad peer group with Sean Pearson. You're going to get a chance to see from Sean. Really appreciate it. And I can't say enough about him. So really grateful for him. We're going to have Chris Batchelor on. NPO. Chris is once again with more Title IV issues than Title IV issues. However, it's important for us as a community to understand that we're not competition with each other. We collaborate with each other. And we can't always, me give all of my contacts to her and vice versa, but it helps her to understand what she's doing and her to understand what I'm doing. And then we work together. And Kathleen, bless her heart, I was in DC. This was about 2 weeks ago, and my schedule was packed. And I felt really bad. Like, Kathleen, I only have like a short window. Can you come to Crystal City to meet me? So bless her heart, she came all the way over to Crystal City to meet me, and I'm really glad she did. She's just been a great leader, very committed to helping, but she is one of the go-to people on Title IV issues, which deals a lot with CPS and their overreach. And both Kathleen and I believe very fervently the government should not be involved in that. So Kathleen, are you able to come on, or am I having problems on my end? Because I see the screen up there, but I don't see. Okay, I don't see Kathleen on there. Okay, Kathleen's working on her camera from what Brian said. Yeah, Brian, just go ahead and bring her on whenever you do get her on, and I'll ramble a little bit while we do that. Just so you know, guys, too, we are going to be having a kind of a panel discussion in about an hour. We've got Representative Mary and Jamie Ray Gregg that are coming on at 5 o'clock Central Time, 6 o'clock Eastern Time. And they're going to be talking about some state issues. Jamie Ray Gregg's going to be talking quite a bit about the fatherhood bill that he's sponsoring in Missouri and going to create a template. Mary is going to be talking about the Commission for Boys and Men that she's leading the charge for in the state of Washington. That's at the 5 o'clock hour. Then at the 6 o'clock hour, we've got Dr. Bernard Jennings from down in Florida. And once again, just another great leader. And I love working with people who like to collaborate. Dr. Bernard Jennings has written a bill, the Good Dad Act bill, and very passionate. My specialty is more the art and the science and building the teams to move the legislative process through. So we're not in competition with each other. We're collaborators. And so Bernard gets some people together that are interested in his bill. I train those people, and then we work together as a team. So we're looking for that. They also have Chris Batchelor's going to be coming on talking about some more ideas of how to meet with legislators when you're going to a state capitol, some of the do's and don'ts. Then I am going to start talking quite a bit about what we're going to be doing in DC, because I made 17 trips over the last few years to Washington, DC, sort of paving the way. And Brian, like I said, feel free to bring Kathleen on whenever she's ready and just go ahead and interrupt me. But there she is. All right, I'll just stop and I'll go ahead and bring Kathleen on. But Kathleen, appreciate you coming on. Appreciate all the work that you've done. It was great getting a chance to be on here too.
It's been a long journey over quite a few years, and our paths have crossed consistently in DC, having to do with helping out with Title IV issues. And that really kind of was the bridge that brought us together. I'm going to show you a couple little things here. I think it'll work. But anyway, my name's Kathleen Arthur. And way back in 1982, I graduated at the University of Portland, and I specialize in research, and I'm a nationally recognized. My early work focused primarily on sudden infant death syndrome in the 1990s. And back then, infants were just dying left and right, and we did not know why. And my research really showed and complemented that pacifier use was very, very associated with sudden infant death, and we started the Back to Sleep program, and that's all nice in history. I started working with primarily Title IV-E stuff in 2016, and one of my most notable moments was when I wrote, I went into Patty Murray's office, and they had the data wrong, and I corrected it. So within 24 hours, we had bipartisan support for a new bill that was reduced by 40% because they didn't realize that all women were not fertile. And so they just basically counted wrong, and the bill was passed. It took a citizen 24 hours to write and pass and get signed into law the Zika bill. But one of the ones that I'm proudest of was the Family First Act, which I co authored with Senators Wyden and Hatch. And this helped to shift foster care and removal toward prevention and family preservation. And I didn't know this at the time, but this was the first national federal bill having to do with funding that did not require a father, a poor father, move out of the house in order for the child to get help. First one. So, the policy advisor for Trump on Title IV issues was that I went to a CPAC meeting, and I met Frank Russo, and I met Christy Nome, and then I ended up having breakfast the next morning with Frank Russo, and he's the general counselor and director of the CPAC Family Center for Combating Human Trafficking. While I and my friends went to dinner at the Capitol Club. That's a really cool place to go. I was all about the ghost children. There's been what a ghost child is basically is just a child who enters foster care and then it disappears. Then the foster parents, nor the teacher, nor the state actors report the child missing. They keep getting money, but again, they don't report the child missing. So nobody is alerted to look for these child. And we know now that they're ending up in sex trafficking. And there's actually now national reports I was able to bring to Frank and a couple others um, about this is an OIG report about 70% of the children who have missing episodes, foster children, are not reported as they're supposed to by federal and state. Ended up seeing these folks, and then what happened was um, they asked me to write an executive order for Title IV. Now, they don't know anything had to do with what the difference is between her portion of it, but I asked if I could go ahead and maybe loop, some folks in from the Title IV-D. Oh, before I continue, this is a big shout out. My friend Francesca Amato, she has a bill before Congress, and she's speaking in Congress next month to the Congress people about this bill having to do with justice and accountability in family court. So bravo, girlfriend. And she's got the most organized um, the most organized group of people I have ever seen to try to start passing a bill. They've already got multiple sponsors. So anyway, shout out to Francesca. And this is having to do more with the Title IV-B and ending the ghost children. So that. Okay, so last but not least, imagine redirecting the funds from a bureaucracy that has inefficiency. It's inefficient counsel. It's inefficient child support. It's a system where children are unpayable debts. We need to be honest, and we need to figure out how to get this taken care of. My particular expertise is child support a little bit, but I really need to learn more. I had a recent conference with the National Parents Organization, and they did offer me invaluable insights about the structure of the parenting plans and how to reduce conflict, balance of financial and emotional support, et cetera, et cetera. Bottom line is, the more I learn, the more I don't know really what to do. about it. This Title IV-D stuff is almost like entering a circus with they're all in a different language and they're just not acting very judiciously, I should say. So, I'm really trying to work with other folks in hopes that I can get an executive order too that makes sense before Trump, as long as I have the opportunity. So, in closing, Mark, I would like to thank you for inviting me here and just see if you have any questions for me.
Excellent. Well, thanks so much for coming on. I do appreciate, like I said, it helps having people with different backgrounds and expertise. If anybody wants
Probably to get a hold of me is through Facebook, or you can go ahead and email also. And my email is bluekathleen at.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Kathleen. I appreciate you coming on. And like I said, I appreciate the fact that you understand us working together and that we're not in competition, that we actually, we get so many people in the shared parenting community that think that my group's more important than this group. And we're not. Each of us have a strength. Each of us have a weakness. And luckily do appreciate you and your willingness to always keep me up to date of what you're doing. And I believe you're going to be there at the event that I'm going to be talking about that I'm planning on for November 4th, I think.
Yes, I am.
Excellent. Yeah, that'll be a game changer that night. So anyways, well, thanks so much for coming on. I appreciate you.
And Mark, I'm really impressed by, how far you've gone in order and how much effort and, personal sacrifice to get to the point to where you can start making change. It takes a long time and it takes a lot. If you were born with silver slippers or in a millionaire family, it's not so hard. But, if you're trying to slip into the people that you need to know the information in order to make good, it's a very difficult path. And you are a dedicated father, really walking ahead for a lot of people.
Like, I know people are frustrated with me saying, well, you've made 17 trips to DC. Where's the results? Well, guys, it takes a while to penetrate that community. So
it really does.
Well, I have penetrated it. So I'm going to start bringing people. November 4th will be the first day. And I'll be talking more about that in about 2.5 hours. So stay tuned and you'll get a chance to really hear some details of what we're going to be doing in November. But thanks for coming on, Kathleen. I appreciate you. And we'll head on to
Bye-bye.
All right. All right, guys. Like I said, later on, we are going to be talking a lot about what we're about to do in DC. The groundwork has been laid. I've made 17 trips to DC, building connections at the White House, building connections at the HHS, building connections to some of the larger organizations outside the shared parenting community that we've got to attach our issue to. With members of the House and the Senate side. Now is the time to start bringing people with me. So that's one of the main purposes today, is to let you know what we're looking for. We're not looking for a bunch of yahoos to show up wearing t-shirts that say all changes a little bit later on. I'm also going to go through, I know a lot of people have been asking me my thoughts on other people. Guys, like I said, I just appreciate.
You're not alone. You stepping up for kids and You're not alone. You stepping up for kids and real change. By joining Mark's Legislative Leadership Development Program, you'll get strategy sessions with Mark and guest legislators, on-demand training videos, research and AI tools to influence lawmakers, and a seat on Mark's legislative team. We're meeting with lawmakers in just 2 weeks, and we want you in the room. Don't just hope for change, be the reason it happens. Join the movement, join the A-Team. Visit stlmarkludwig.com and click the membership tab to get started.
Let's talk about mental health. I'm speaking to you as someone who understands what you're going through. I had my own challenging experiences in family court and have worked with over 15,000 others who have been and are involved in high conflict cases. You're watching today because you believe, like I do, that children need both parents. Let's be honest about what this journey costs us. Divorce ranks as the second most stressful life event humans can experience. According to studies, only the death of a spouse ranks higher. Based on what I've experienced and witnessed, when you add in high conflict and parental alienation, it's perhaps the most stressful thing we can possibly face. Today, I want to validate your struggle, show you're not alone, and give you hope for healing for both you and your children. There's a mental health toll on us as parents. What we're experiencing is real. You may feel like you're losing your mind. That's not weakness. That's biology. High conflict custody cases can trigger PTSD-like symptoms, hypervigilance, intrusive thoughts, and emotional numbing. Divorces have been shown to increase depression rates by 2 to 9 times, and divorced fathers are 10 times more likely to choose suicide than divorced mothers, largely due to the separation from their children, and this extends to unmarried fathers as well. That's not to say it's not stressful for mothers. However, fathers disproportionately choose suicide in response to the pain. Sadly, I've personally witnessed the burdensome effects of such decisions left on those behind. There's a unique toxicity in high conflict cases. Every court hearing, every hostile email or text message, every time your child is used as a weapon, psychological warfare. The system itself can re-traumatize you without trauma-informed practices. Our children are watching and absorbing. The impact on the kids we're doing this for can be high. What does high conflict do to the children? Well, high conflict divorce is classified as an adverse childhood experience, according to the studies. Children develop post-traumatic stress symptoms from witnessing parental conflict. Parental alienation is now recognized as mental health professionals as emotional abuse. 90% of adults who experience parental alienation as children report lasting mental health difficulties. The heartbreaking reality is that children internalize the hatred directed at the alienated parent, and they begin to hate that part of themselves. They lose their sense of safety and develop a fear of abandonment, which directly predicts future mental health problems. Academic performance declines, behavioral problems increase. But here's what the professionals need to understand. The quiet children may just be suffering the most. Let's talk about why shared parenting is mental health medicine. Research validates this. Here's what the studies show about shared parenting. Children in shared parenting arrangements have significantly lower levels of depression, anxiety, and behavioral problems. They maintain better relationships with both parents and perform better in school and have higher self-esteem. Parents with shared parenting responsibilities report lower depression symptoms and better mental health. Critically, these benefits occur even when parents don't get along perfectly. The key here is meaningful time with both fit, willing parents. Why this matters, especially for mental health. Children need both parents for optimal brain development. Fathers and mothers contribute differently to the emotional regulation, risk-taking, and social development. I recommend reading The Boyhood Crisis by Warren Farrell and The Role of the Father in Child Development by Michael E. Lamb. Shared parenting reduces the winner-takes-all mentality that fuels high conflict. When children aren't forced to choose sides, their stress levels decrease dramatically. For the professionals watching, what you need to understand is this isn't about rights. This is about our children's mental health. Every study shows the same thing. Children do traumatized. Moral harm is now officially recognized in the DSM-5-TR, which is a text revision experience in family court. Our moral understanding of justice is rooted in constitutional protections, due process, equal protection, and fundamental parental rights. The profound injury occurs when people discover that the family courts often operate under parents' patriarch doctrine, where subjective best interest determinations can override our constitutional rights. This isn't just about adverse outcomes. It's about the fundamental betrayal of discovering that constitutional protections we believe were inviolable can be set aside by judicial discretion. The psychological impact of witnessing constitutional rights subordinate to state paternalism deserves recognition, validation, and systemic reform. You need to protect your mental health throughout this storm. There's some survival strategies that actually work. For your own healing, get professional support. Therapy and/or coaching can be essential. Document everything, but don't let it consume you. Organizations like Dad to Dad, NPO, and AFESP are focused on improving outcomes for children. And Dad to Dad especially is hoping to help fathers be the best versions of themselves and be fully present in their children's lives. This improves outcomes for everyone involved in the process. Practice radical self-care. Our mental health directly impacts our children's well-being. Sleep and avoiding numbing distractions are all critical to maintaining your mental health and physical well-being. Protecting our children. Never fight in front of them. Even quiet arguments are traumatic. Be mindful of how you express yourself when speaking to or about your co-parent. These expressions can be verbal and/or physical. Child therapy can help prevent long-term damage. Stay focused on the goal, preserving their relationship with both fit, willing parents. Hope and healing is critical. We can't give up. The resilience research shows that 72% recognize family. You're changing the system for future families. What keeps us going? Your children will remember that you didn't give up on them. Every small victory in maintaining your relationship with your children matters. The research is on our side. Shared parenting is becoming the recognized standard. We're building, not broken. You're not overreacting. You are parents who are protecting your children's mental health. To the professional solutions, our children deserve better than a system that treats divorce as a war to be won rather than a family crisis to be healed. Don't give up. Keep healing. Keep believing that the children need both parents, because they do, and the research proves we're right.
Good day. My name is Andre Rainey. I'm the proud former mayor of the great city of Peekskill. And as today I've come to you as many things I want to talk about, if you will, of what can happen to a person fighting for their children, especially a father. As a minority father, I think one of the greater challenges that I faced was the stereotype and the bias from the judge not knowing me as a person, taking the actual case on a case-to-case basis. There's several stereotypes and several stigmas that promote the idea that fathers, especially black and minority fathers, don't have the insight or even the will to want to be in their children's lives. These are all outdated stereotypes that unfortunately have not surfaced through family court. If I could share some of the things that I experienced, just for an example, my daughter's mother hired my predecessor as her attorney to fight for custody of our daughter in court. And it didn't come off as a conflict of interest to anybody in the courtroom other than myself and my attorney. Unfortunate, but others who believe that shared parenting is necessary, that it is not over. Don't give up the fight. Be just like Mark and Americans for Shared Parenting and continue to make awareness, continue to drive the forces, and meet with those elected officials. Anyone who's in the New York State area, connect with us. We would love to work with you. But our goal is to make the United States of America a shared parenting nation. It may be challenging, it may be difficult, but the work we put in today will ensure our children of tomorrow's families don't have to go through the nonsense that we're going through today. Several options that we encourage people to do. One is lobby. Contact your local elected officials. Let them know how you feel about shared parenting. In most cases, somebody's either going through family court, or they know somebody who's going through family court, and they can certainly use another voice. We also encourage education and awareness. For those of you who protest, for those of you who host seminars or do the work that Mark is doing, get the news media outlets involved. That's one of the channels that we're focusing on here in New York that I haven't seen a lot of, putting this information in the news. Once it becomes a national issue, or once it becomes a local news issue, more and more people seem to jump on board, and that's our goal, especially up here in the state of New York. As an African American or a minority father, we've had to fight challenges, and the narratives don't necessarily follow the reality with statistics today. And even though this is a fight that we're continuously fighting, it's a fight that we cannot give up on. This is an international crisis. Shared parenting should be the first option in most cases for all families after divorce and separation, but unfortunately it is not. And as many of you know or have seen before, fathers often seem to get the short end of the stick. Whether or not we get the short end of the stick, we don't give up because we love our children. And I encourage you, keep the fight and don't give up. Thanks again for welcoming me to your event. I really appreciate all the work that you guys are doing. Please check us out, shareparenting.org. We have a lot of information on there, all database information. And our ultimate goal is always going to be, no matter what narrative is out there, no matter what statistics are out there, no matter what organization even considers us an enemy out there, our focus is always going to be the best interest of the child. And we believe if they're two loving and fit parents, the child deserves equal time, or at least maximum time, with both parents. Whether you have one child, two children, or more, you're fit, you're loving, you deserve to be in your child's life. Now, last thing I want to say is to Mark and to the Americans for Shared Parenting team, thank you so much for your hard and the need for the families to find a way to come to common ground to work together, because no matter what we believe in, no matter what we do, once we bring a life into this world, that life deserves the best. And the best interest of the child is always going to be love and care from both of their parents. So I thank you so much for all your work. Again, check us out, shareparenting.org. Keep up the work, and no matter what, Americans for Shared Parenting, we got your back. Thanks again.
I retired from the Marine Corps in 2018. I have 3 kids. My oldest daughter, she's 23. My middle daughter, she is 19. And my youngest, he's my son, he's the second, and he is 13. The things that I changed in my life because I became a parent, I had to change my priorities. I had to change who came first. That paycheck of mine just wasn't mine. I had to make sure she was taken care of, being there for her. Making sure that I was there every step of the way to make sure I was involved. But unfortunately, the mothers used my military against me, and I wasn't able to have a lot of interaction and time with my kids in the home. My kids missed out on a lot of the positive attributes from my childhood that I could have passed down to them. A lot of the skills that I learned even in the Marine Corps, learning those different characteristics about being a leader. I coached my kids since they were small, so I was able to give them some, but they did miss out on me, the development of me as a man, as I've learned to not do things as a child, because again I was 19 when I first had my first child. So now I think that it would have been a lot of things that I could have passed down to them to help them through life, to help them with the things that I may have made mistakes on that I've made them. With my oldest, I have tried to reconnect with her. I've went down to her house, and it's difficult because the trauma is still there. For my son, he was told a lot of things that weren't true. The states that my divorce happened in, the first one was in New Orleans in 2003, and the second one was in Texas in 2019. It was a huge difference. The first one wasn't contested. We just had to wait 6 months and process paperwork. The Texas one was a little different. I was just retired. We had a lot of issues with my retirement pay, with my disability pay, and I didn't have the money for lawyers and all that other stuff. So I represented myself. I thought I was going to be fine with the case because of the domestic violence that she brought on me and all this other stuff happening, and it was, I just thought it was going to be fine. And the lawyer treated me as if I was an absentee dad, and gave her whatever she wanted. They came up with some algorithm of me visiting my son, needing to be supervised. I would only get him on certain holidays or weekends. That isn't being with my son. My son shouldn't have any restrictions to his dad. Again, I've raised him in more rights than the other. It didn't make sense to me at all. When I first joined the Marine Corps, I went in as a supply and accounting. The inventory, over $13 million worth of equipment, had to make sure it was accounted for, upkept. I was in charge of thousands of Marines, getting them from point A to point B.
So the U.S. government entrusted you with millions of dollars.
Addict, that I was on drugs, which was a lie. I was a substance abuse counselor. I helped people through substance abuse. So it was very weird that they were able to bring that in.
All those lies, and was there ever any recourse for the lies?
None whatsoever. None whatsoever. The judge allowed all those lies. There was never any recourse. Even after they were proved wrong, there was no recourse, no. I did experience emotional trauma from my partner not being around my kids. A lot of things changed in the household after I had to pay child support, taking the kids on vacations, being able to own to make it to the next month. Because again, we don't get rich. Not in the military to get rich. They don't pay you a lot of money, and I have had to get on food stamps while I was an active duty Marine. Because of that, I had to go to substance. I never thought that would even, that was even be possible. That I would be not able to take care of my family with with what I'm doing, with my work. I do believe that my kids have been hurt because I had to pay child support and because I had to work another job that took more times away from them or ability to even deal with them or deal with the kids that I had currently in my home. So they barely saw me. And yeah, it definitely hurt them because of the time that I spent away from them to try and catch up with bills or whatnot. Child support, the conflict that child support brings for me is that the money that is put towards that child's education or upbringing isn't an equal decision at that point. It's, what's happening to that money is all upon the other party. Being able to, if I had that time with them, to be able to do what I wanted to do to give them that support, I believe that I would have given them even more. My child actually needs. Paying less child support has zero factors in me wanting to spend time with my son. No one paid me on his birth to be there. No one paid me to be at all his baseball, t-ball games, wrestling matches, teaching him to play basketball, teaching him to play football. No one told me to be there when he was in the hospital. No one told me or forced me to be a part of his life. I wanted to every day that he has been on this earth. So paying less child support, who cares? I just want to be the dad that I've always been. The winners in family court are the people who get the paychecks. That's who wins in family court. Because again, the family that's broken, the child that gets this, that receives this trauma from the separation or whatnot, they're definitely not the winners. Even a mother who gets $10,000 in child support is not the winner. If I could change one thing about divorce, I would make it about those two people in divorce. Have someone that has some common sense in the situation to come and be the authoritative voice in what actually happens. Because again, it shouldn't be about this person against this person. It should be about, okay, how do we separate peacefully? Because a voice. Just by giving me a voice. I felt like in all my cases, I did not have a equal and allow my kid to hear my voice in regard to what I want to happen with them. Because it's important that they know a logical conclusion in regard to what happens with the process altogether, and that there's someone with a heart that understands what the kids are going through and what's best for the child in regard to other further advancement in life, to be good citizens, to be good people, not to have so much trauma involved. I also would like to see those mental health services be offered to those children and even to the parents to help them to learn to cope through that situation without leaving so much damage that's created to the child. I would tell a legislator that's voting on a shared parenting bill to think about their own kids, to think about them in the situation. If this were you, what would you want to happen? If this was your child and God forbid you have to get a divorce and you have to split up and all these things have to happen, what would you want to happen in your situation? Make it from a personal standpoint, make the decision on a personal standpoint and not on the lobbyist and, the money standpoint, and keeping the system that has damaged the family. Do not let it persist. A bit of advice I have for parents that are going through divorce: get over yourself. Get over the bitterness. Get over the whatever it is between you as adults, and hinge on the love that you have for your child to help you through that bitterness and whatever that is. Because it matters. It matters for all involved.
Study. And yet, divorce courts routinely just relegate fathers to the status of a weekend visitor. Mark Ludwig is working to change that. I want you to welcome the founder of Americans for Equal Shared Parenting, Mark Ludwig. Mark, good to have you here. Which is always unfortunate. I always say the only real winners in a divorce are the lawyers.
Exactly.
But 80% of the time, the judge just arbitrarily gives custody to the mom, and the dad.
The situation until it happens to them.
Yeah.
I went to me. You realize they've got a child.
Yeah.
And I ended up going 204 days without seeing him. He was moved without my knowledge. And at one point I thought I would never see him again. And it was horrible. I started writing a journal during that period of time because I thought, just in case something happens to me, I want him to know that I loved him, and I was thinking about him every day. So I started writing to him every night before I went to bed. And I still do it to this day. He's got 42 books now of journals.
42 books that journals.
Every night before I've written one, I'm going to give him to him. And I've tried to not de-edify his mom, but let him know how much I cared about him and how much I was thinking about him during everything that went on.
So this became, first, a personal issue, you trying to make sure that you could be involved in your son's life. At what point did you decide, this is a bigger thing than me? There are dads all over the country who are being shut out of their children's lives, and they really have a hard pathway going through court to get either joint custody or sometimes even simple visitation. When did you decide you were going to do something bigger than just fight for your own son's case?
Well, I'd been pretty active in St. Louis in the community. I served on a lot of board of directors and was very politically active. Political connections. Why don't I start working on trying to get legislation passed? And my biggest passion, believe it or not, is not even for me to make the change, but to educate people across the country into the courtroom the child should be presumed to have equal access to those parents the same way they did the day before the divorce. Now, the judge still has discretion, but you don't arbitrarily pick a winner and a loser, which is what happens nowadays. Nowadays, someone walks into a attorney's office.
Into adversaries.
Exactly.
And then the children are injured by that because they see this even bigger fight. It's a horrible fighting for the.
And she adds value to his life that I can't add. I believe that's why God designed it for two people to create a child. We both have strengths and we both have weaknesses, and we compensate for those when we're raising a child. And statistics have shown, from a fatherless standpoint, a child growing up without a father, 80 to 95 or to 94% of all teenage runaways, teenage pregnancies, teenage drug problems, teenage behavioral problems, 80 to 94% of all of those, the one common thing is they grew up without a dad.
Wow.
And yes,
that's
we do
a
have
staggering amount of
it's phenomenal.
Social disruption.
And you think of how much of that is created, 21 million kids going through the family court system that are relegated to a visitor with one of their parents. With myself, my son misses out on the experience of dad getting ready for school, dad doing homework. I become the Disney dad. So it's fun to see dad on weekends, but as a parent, my responsibility to my child is different than being a fun dad. He needs to see that dad can get him ready for school, that dad can do homework, that dad has work to do during the week. And he misses that experience.
And the dad can also tell him no sometimes. So it's not always, dad's going to say yes no matter what you say.
Well, and that's it too. Most kids in this situation know that from about noon on Sunday on, if they want to get a favor, it's probably going to, because most dads realize at 5 o'clock on Sunday, they're not going to see their kids all week.
Yeah.
And so they don't want the last impression to be, wow, I got in trouble right before I had to go back to mom's. So most kids have figured out they can get away with quite a bit more on a Sunday afternoon, which isn't healthy for a child.
It's so important what you're doing, and I want to tell our audience how they can learn more about the organization you've created, Americans for Equal Shared Parenting. I know there are parents out there who need to get in touch and to get involved, maybe at their state legislative level as well. You can visit the website and follow them on social media. It's on your screen. I hope you'll jot it down. I hope you'll look into it because, as Mark so eloquently said, this isn't about the parents. It's truly about the children.
If you've been wanting to get active in getting legislation passed to help kids across this country, we're looking for you right now. Right now, I am currently putting together teams of people in every single state all across the country, people that are trained, that know the basics. I need to make sure that you know everything you need to know when you're meeting with legislators, how to handle objections, how to be able to talk to them. So we've set up a legislative leadership development program where for $30 a month, you'll have access to a complete database of resources. You'll have information on all the research that has gone on in the past, the Linda Nielsen research, the Richard Warshak, the Bill Fabricius. You're going to have some of my training videos on how to meet with legislators, how to handle objections, how to give a testimony. We've created an AI tool where you'll be able to write letters to your legislators. So to join the team, go to STL Mark Ludwig, and there'll be a membership button on there. So go to stlmarkludwig.com, STL for St. Louis, stlmarkludwig.com, click on the membership button, and join the team. And every month you'll be updated with new information. In addition to at least once a month, I'll do a live town hall where you'll be able to interact with me and we can talk about what's going on in some of the different states, what's going on here at the federal level, and you can get direct access to find the information out. So to do that, once again, go to 26. All right, welcome back. Hopefully we have a better connection now. Be flexible and adaptable. Facebook was very, very spotty. From what I heard, people on YouTube and Twitch are having a better connection. So entire thing, I say, okay, look, Brian, how it's doing. But anyway, we're back, and hopefully you're all thing. I'll try in a second if I need to move even farther in the bedroom after the next break. Put a couple of out. One is if you can help Brian and I out. Brian is broadcasting this on Twitch. So if you can subscribe and follow his Twitch account, if you're a Twitcher, if you have, please make sure that what we don't want is everything dependent on Facebook. And all of a sudden we wake up one day and they deplatform us or something and lost all our followers. So if you have a backup channel, will be my personal YouTube page. So please make sure it's free. Make sure that you hit subscribe, or Ryan, try spoofing accounts. So the correct account on TikTok, STL Mark Ludwig 5050. So STL Mark Ludwig 5050 is the TikTok account. Some wackadoo out there has STL Mark Ludwig. That is not me, even though they copied and pasted a lot of videos. Apparently they're trying to message people to send money. Just so you guys know, starting in November, I won't be asking for any money except being sent to an organization. In the meantime, I have some things I need to do. So if anybody can help out, I think some of you know, I've worked my butt off traveling all around the country, racks up bills, airfare, Uber fees, airport parking, car rentals. And I've had some people help out. A heck of a lot of expense. I am really, really behind. So if anybody feels to help out, I'm okay with that. But I think Brian put like my PayPal, my Venmo, the Zelle. But if you can help out, greatly appreciate it. The PayPal is starnetmark@yahoo.com. Starnetmark@yahoo.com. The Venmo, Mark Ludwig -18. Apparently, there's 18 Mark Ludwigs. And Brian said it's scrolling at the bottom of the get your message out there. And every once in a while, people are like, well, if you believe this, why don't you do it for free? Do you believe it? Why don't you go to DC 17 trips and let's see how well you do? So if anybody can help out, we're already in progress. You're going to see that in about an hour for more of the details of what we've accomplished so far. But the return on investment is there. If anybody can help out, we really appreciate it. But I am real excited to bring on a couple champions that we have in legislatures around the country. One of which I think some of you know, Jamie has become just a friend of mine. Is rapidly one of the top leaders in the country, as one of the top shared parenting legislative experts. Jamie is much better at talking to me, so I'm probably going to have lead more of the conversation. I'm kind of bored. I'm not trying to sound self-deprecating here. I don't get in a lot of parties. I'm just it's open conversational. Let me tell you real quick. We've got Jamie Ray Gregg that we're bringing on from the state of Missouri, and then we're also going to bring on Representative Mary Dye from the state of Washington. And the three of us were together in Indianapolis about, I guess, a month ago. It was fun to have all talking, but we to lead off. Can you give us a little 60-second of your background and what your questions are, and then can you, if you can do the same thing?
I was born very young into some parents that said I'd never shut up. So I talk only because I just never was able to be quiet for long. So, but no, I've gone through a divorce myself and having to step into that role of having to fight for kids that have a dad. This has been a very big important thing. I was those that was able to have their children about 50% of the time before shared parenting was even a thing. But I had to fight. I had to fight hard, tooth and nail, working 5 jobs at a time, and making sure the kids had a dad in their lives. That's what got me passionate about this. But professionally, I've always been in the people business, everything from ministry to entertaining down in Branson, Missouri. It was great training. I believe the Lord put the right time to learn the right things to do what you're going to do next. And everything I said to be able to legislatively now. So for me, I am a stranger. So talking to folks has come natural. But passion and now the experience of being able to talk to people. They merge together, and that's what's brought us to today.
Yeah, Jay, for those of you, like I said, Jamie is the entertainer. Literally, if you go anywhere, the type that just kind of sits there waiting for somebody to say something, Jamie will literally keep the conversation flowing. So, real glad to have you on here, Jamie. And then
Thanks for
Mary,
having me.
my followers may not be as familiar with Mary. Mary from the state of Washington, and she's really been leading the charge on a commission for men, which is one of the things I'm working on with the White House right now. People who don't know as much about you can get updated on you.
Sure. I was appointed to the legislature 10 years ago, there for 38 years now. We have girls, so you're probably wondering, why am I working on a bill now men lasting durable marriage and be successful in life and flourish? And I think a lot of them feel that way. They want them to be successful and happy, and everything about the system right now seems to favor crushing the soul of young men. And homemaker and a long time far to be on. Obviously, we have different politics, but anyway, so gets a call from Blair Daly, who said, "Hey, why isn't there a man sitting on the Women's Commission?" And it became a cause célèbre for Marcella and me. In fact, the fact narrative said that there's something significantly broken from early childhood all the way through 12, all the way through our college, all the way through workforce opportunities. And we're seeing these data points that are shocking. I think last year we saw a 7% increase in suicide, which was mostly between the ages of 12 and 16. That should put everybody up. Why is this happening? Why are they getting discouraged as they leave middle school and go into high school, where they have the whole time of them, and yet they're discouraged? What in the system is making it untenable to remain in the system successfully? And the addiction, nearly 80% of it housed homeless are men. And I find it appalling that people just seem to take it for granted and step over the bodies of people who are in deep addiction and don't consider how they give up on their lives at a young age and check out and get addicted. What is causing the harms that are the spirit of our young men? I just feel like as we dive into those issues, what's not leading to human flourishing, I think all of us fail to flourish when half of our population are really not flourishing. I just think that we needed to call a commission together to evaluate these policies from a neutral stand from the legislative lens, because there's partisanship around. We have elections to win and to please, and we are very much divided in our country right now. And I really find it interesting that really things have changed a lot in the last few weeks since the assassination on Charlie Kirk, who spoke so kind and articulately about issues about marriage and seeking a good life and having a ton of kids. And he modeled that vision of what could be. I don't want to be idealized about it, but I think that our system doesn't encourage that. And I think that when you see, women who enter that do get to college, I mean, the enrollment rates for men is 50% male, 60% female, absolutely flip-flop from the 70s. I see that as a signal that the college offerings are not appealing to what men perceive or can perceive themselves as becoming. And by the sophomore year, not completing, which means that men's earning capacity in a professional field may be reduced. I think that data shows that that's the case, and I don't think that I want every person be able to actualize their highest and best capability, and we're not building systems that allow individual agency. And I also really thinking a lot around the institutions that support our communities really lagging and struggling. And I'm like, why is that happening? And I'm on mission to bring water infrastructure into the center part of the state. So I'm working a lot of county commissions and irrigation district. I'm working on projects and trying to work with our planning commissions, all of these local instruments that hold and sustain the life of our community. I'm seeing that people that are engaged in that are not effectual. They don't feel like they have permission. Allow men to have permission to have and have agency to really hold up those responsibilities and to be strong, engaged in a very fundamental way that they're not supposed to be by just the cultural zeitgeist of the age. And I really believe that the early child education on is about boys and men from women and girls. And I think one of the key points that kind of stands out is lashing out. And you can see those symptoms in children in school when they're frustrated and the system isn't accepting of who they are, not recognizing that frustration or that sense of fear in that child has to go away. That they're, needs to be medicated, or that their acting is disruptive of the class, violent, and they're perceived as toxic in the classroom, or what it is that they are putting on kids. I think that needs to go away. We need to have more understanding. I really want the commission into that, understand the data, understand the biology, the responses that I really do. And I hope that this year will have changed a lot. And Mark, I can't tell you, when you called me, I was doing something Nevada, some other states are really looking at the commission and not having done one. And I think that it finally it took a long time to see that thing and get it to that the White House is talking about it. I think it's so we need to do something. And when you see something like happened to Charlie Kirk, that young man.
The 100 bill, some of the components of that
balance
bill, some of the components of that
balance passed as a not cross it, but where that 35 senators not covered up, fixed to back up the kids. And so that's what that program in Florida was. A lot more to it. They put a lot into it. So in the state of Missouri, I thought, let's take that portion that I just described and let's see if we can put that, because dads missing everywhere. We've got a very high percentage of inner city where you don't see dads at all. Kids growing up without dad at all. They don't even know dad. They don't even know who dad is. We need to fight that. So across the aisle, both sides unanimously in committee. It went through the rules committee, went unanimous, went through the House. Some stuff. Ours was sitting there ready to go, but what I call politics kind of took over, unfortunately. So we're going to get that. We're going to get that referred straight to committee. Hopefully, one this year. not have them. That's what we're going to do here. And we're going to see if we can get through.
Cool. Well, I appreciate your leadership on that. John Radcliffe, the new CIA director, was there that night. I remember you telling me about your passion. I remember I was thinking, I'm that guy. So very glad to know you and work with you. So,
This may be a father to help fathers get back at the kids, but ultimately you could say this is a kid's business. Kids need moms, need dads. If this were reversed and dads were the kids all the time, moms were the ones with all the roadblocks, I'd still be fighting just as hard. Again, representative to get to the biology. They need both moms. They need both dads. Well, if you feel disciplinary, you put them living with that 73% is back. It's back. The percentage of kids that live alone. That says that there are things there are things that mom does, and you need both of them in children's lives to have a well-rounded, balanced child. That's what
we're out because a lot of people like we're invalidating. We're not invalidating any for a mother, but it is very sexual. I'll give you an idea, guys. At the federal level, there are 8 federal agencies or departments for health. There's not a single one for men's health. In the Department of Education, there's a separate agency and department for women. There's not one for men's. In the Department of the Interior, in the Department of Labor, in the Department of Housing and Development, every department at the federal level has an agency for men. There's not a single one. I mean, for women, one for women's. I had a long night last night. But, so we're not invalidating women. We're just saying both. To be honest, boys and men will help women because it's going to help kids.
Yes. Right. Simply put, we don't wear blue ribbons for prostate cancer. We wear pink ribbons. Pink. And, what you said is really important because right now, the school system, 40% of children in any given classroom from a single parent home mostly had just your data points back that up and try and bridge the gap. And we don't really have a good answer for that. The answer is fathers and mothers involved in that person's life that is struggling from a broken home situation. So I think that, we are looking at budgets and you say, why are we having to pour more and more money into our funding? And yet, like our average $19,000 a student now at Washington State, and yet our performance in the classroom is declining. I mean, we're well under 50% in both math and science. And so the question is, if we work here in the Men's Commission to try and remedy some of these problems, I think that we would see success overall for men going forward, and children will be the beneficiaries of that. One of the budget items that stuck out to me is we've got unhoused homeless housing budget, which is very robust. The housing budget, putting majority of it for housing homeless women with children, at 80% of the unhoused homeless. And so, you see that prioritization is creating an ongoing problem.
Yeah, that's the sad thing. So much money is spent on women. Nothing wrong with that, but we don't have the budget yet for men. Jamie and I have talked quite a bit. With TANF, there's 4 purposes TANF is allowed to use. And purpose number 4 specifically for marriage unification and reunification for the child's benefit, which means co-parenting situations. That can be used for kids. And there is millions and millions of dollars every single state that's out there right now. So our work right now is trying to get states to be able to reallocate some of that money and basically to say, hey, what can we do for co-parenting situations for kids with some of that money?
And that's a problem with TANF. TANF 1, 2, and 3, I believe all three of them, they actually attack the family. They encourage families. Or TANF 4, the reunification. They want mom and dad together. The money for reunification. So
yeah, that's important. And I think both of your bills, the important thing for people to understand with these bills, some people think, well, is that going to be shared parenting bill or social interference bill? If we have a commission or a Department of Fathership where the state now is advocating for us, instead of a bunch of advocates saying we need to do this, can you imagine if we have a commission that's been appointed by the state, that's their role, is to look at what are the barriers to fatherhood, and now they're advocating for us. They're the ones saying, hey, a big barrier to fathers is the current child support system in our state, or custodial interference bills in our state, or equal shared parenting bills in our state. Now that there's a foundation that we add more reforms on. So I think what the two of you are doing is more important than a 50-50 bill, because you're laying the concrete foundation to add the structures on top. So we do have 3 minutes left. So if there's some closing comments, I guess maybe we'll start with you. Any closing comments you had?
And this is, I'm talking to Dan for a second. I know what you're going through. Mark knows what you're going through. We all see it everywhere. This is probably the most stress you have ever gone through. This beats being while the birth of your child is coming. This beats this beats all these other things are being broke down. We got to walk forward. This is stress. The reason is because physiologically, biologically, we're the protectors. We have to protect children when we can't. When they're stripped, that's a really big stressor. And as Representative again said, it comes out. It comes out. It doesn't stay like it does. I encourage dads, take that deep breath, take that walk around the block, take that walk around the block, take 10 because ultimately you want to stay engaged, and it does take flashing out the system. People won't take you serious. We need dads to take that breath, hold it in, find an outlet. Don't find a way to get out and do everything you can to keep fighting for your children.
My goal on this bill is just to generally improve the well-being of all of the people. We're not ignoring one group of people and we're pushing them down to that we find reasons why that's happening and change the system so that society benefits. Our kids will be the beneficiaries. We can something out. Right now, it's tipping point time. We've got generations and their children if we don't turn this down. And I want to give men permission to take agency so that they have the right and the responsibility to be the protectors, to lift up not only the family, they're charged with really the responsibility of protecting our family, but protecting our community and our society. That's how it works, right? And I'm hoping that the work that you're doing and the work that I'm doing will lift us all up in a better place.
So I appreciate you guys. Guys, in the state of Washington, we need to support marriage. So many people, why isn't someone doing something? We need to make sure that we have a champion doing something, that we've got their back, that we're supporting them. So if you're from Washington, please reach out to me and ask for, hey, what can I do to help? And the same way with Jamie in Missouri. These guys are phenomenal champions. So I appreciate both of you coming on. Hopefully I'll see both of you in Dallas. I think Jamie, I'll see you down at the College of the Ozarks. Excellent. All right, so much for coming on, guys.
Thank you very much for having me as well.
Excellent. All right, guys. In a second here, we're going to take a break. Not yet. But apparently we're still having connection problems, so we think it may be on Brian's there. So not yet, but in about 3 minutes, we're going to take a break. We're going to log off, so you're going to need to sign back in. I apologize. But if you need to take a pee break or you need to grab something to eat, that would definitely be your chance. And hopefully we'll be back online again for the program. But apparently we'll have a better connection then when we do that. I do want to remind everybody, if you can, we've got the 3 channels. We've got Brian's Twitch account. We've got the YouTube account. If you haven't followed my YouTube page, please do it. That's always the backup. If anything ever happens to Facebook, YouTube is always going to be the backup. So it's STR Ludwig on YouTube. Please subscribe. Just hit the subscribe button on the YouTube, and that way you'll be alerted anytime or YouTube lives on there. Yeah, please that you like and follow this page. I think they can help contribute. These trips are unbelievably expensive. You're going to realize when we come back on, we're going to tell you some of the things that we've got going on that we've made phenomenal progress on, but it takes money to do that. So if anybody can help out with PayPal or Venmo, we'd really appreciate it. But why don't we go ahead and disconnect everything, so you'll need to log back on. But trust me, you're going to log back in. Who's going to be talking about the good act in Florida. We've got Josh, Anthony, and Vince that are part of my team. And then I'm going to be laying out a lot of details of what's going to be going on in November in DC that you want to be a part of, as well as my commentary on other things going on around the country that I'm asking about. So at this point, let's log off. We'll log back on in about 5 minutes at 5:45 Central Time, 6:45 Eastern Time. Thanks, guys.
Guys, 1 in 3 families is affected by some form of parental alienation. You know somebody, I know somebody, we all know somebody. Guys, we got to keep continuing to spread this awareness. We need to be coming together and breaking the silence. We need to start getting here and taking some action and accountability and stop sitting on the couch. Get off the couch, because that don't do nothing for nobody. I'm Philly Slim. Don't forget, what we do today, it affects our tomorrow.
Courts have a financial incentive to take our children from us, to take us as parents, most often fathers, but also mothers. They reduce us down to visitors to justify child support order. And when they justify child support order, the state then receives federal funding through what's known as Title IV-D of the Social Security Act.
I did a great job in raising them myself pretty much. Their mom did what she had to do to help out, but she didn't allow the system to come in and force me to raise my own kids.
Daughter died. No one told me. And her mother still collected child support.
Let's go, Sarah. Come on, sweetie. Yeah, I understand, sweetie.
You know, I know a lot of you are going through the very same things that I'm going through right now.
I spent 15 years in prison because I didn't have my biological father there to influence.
Anything you want to say? Being accused of shooting a cop, killing him.
Society not letting me see my son. I lashed out to somebody that didn't deserve it.
85% of youths in prison were raised by single moms.
I haven't seen my son since November.
Like I said, I got one I ain't seen in 15 years.
I haven't seen my kids since December 2013.
I've been on house arrest for 2 years now for wanting to be in my daughter's life and being a father.
This doesn't just happen to men, this also happens to women. Mothers are alienated as well.
I'm personally a victim of a corrupt family law system.
They're being told by their father that your mother don't want you. She abandoned you. Do you know what this is doing to my children?
As President of the United States, I will do everything I can to address this inequality in tax laws.
Casualties of war. Warriors against the regime. When people hear Tilbahala Project, the first thing they might think of is our shirts. But what most people don't know is that our plaques came first and the t-shirts came second. What some people might not know is that the same shirts that we make day in and day out allowed us to do unbelievable things for unbelievable people. Whether it's donating our proceeds to reduce veteran suicide or gifting handcrafted memorial plaques to the families of fallen heroes, these t-shirts simply stand for honor and freedom, 2 words that wouldn't exist without our heroes. This makes Till Valhalla Project a place where fallen heroes truly live on forever.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
When I get all steamed up, then I shout.
Tip me over and pour me out. Oh. The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Cheers. Take time to be a dad today.
If you're struggling with thoughts of suicide, or worried about a friend or loved one, or in need of emotional support, help is available.
Call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-273-TALK to speak to a counselor, or visit suicidepreventionlifeline.org.
It's free, confidential, and available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Even if it feels like it, you are not alone.
It's such like a tug of war with whose side are you going to choose. I realized like it was just tearing me apart.
It was always, you're on my side or you're dead to me.
The first time my dad saw me, I was in my grandma's arms in a courtroom.
It really felt like she didn't want anything to do with me.
It's hard when you have to stop and think that your child wants nothing to do with you because of what they've been taught.
One parent gets to be a parent and the other gets to be, at best, a visitor, and at worst, completely erased. And a lot of it has to do with our judicial system.
What I remember about being in court was having to lie to the judge. Sorry.
It destroys lives, it bankrupts people every day, it tears children from their homes, and just so happens to be a $50 billion a year industry.
If you don't pay your child support, you're gonna go to jail.
Walter Scott decided to bolt from his car. Court documents show he owed more than $18,000 in child support payments.
These fathers are not deadbeat, they're dead broke.
Nothing I said mattered. None of the evidence I brought forward mattered. The judge wouldn't even look at it.
He's nothing like I was told he was.
If there's 22 million adults dealing with this, that's over 22 million children. And the mental health consequences are severe and long-lasting.
It's heartbreaking to me to see how many of you are dealing with this.
My dad was erased from my life.
It's happening all over the world.
This isn't a father's rights issue. It's not a mother's rights issue. It's a human right issue.
My daughter here and I have been alienated from each other for the majority of her life. She called me and said, "Dad, it's time to move home," and she came home.
If the court worked in a way where there was 50-50 custody, I'd be happier. I wouldn't feel a void because I've never known a life where one parent wasn't missing.
A new bill would make default custody 50-50.
How come we don't have shared parenting in the law? It's called special interests.
We need more clarity in law to support what is best for children, shared parenting, and this helps move in that direction.
I want to show people that it can have a happy ending.
In about 10 minutes, we're going to leave for the courthouse so I can legally re-adopt my daughter.
Good.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Oh boy.
We just found it. Our back and forth. Victory. Fumble. Repeat. It always came back.
Dad!
Whoa!
You made time.
That was perfect.
Okay, here we go, throw it!
Yeah.
You probably don't remember what you told me.
Nice.
But I heard every word.
How does parental alienation affect a child? What do adults say about having lived through the experience of one parent turning them against the other parent so that the relationship was erased? A study of 40 adults by Dr. Amy Baker showed that it significantly hurt their development as people. Losing a parent because of the other parent's wrongful interference deeply affected their sense of identity, how they feel about themselves, and how they feel about the world. The more exposure to parental alienation strategies by an alienating parent, the more likely the kids are to grow up to be depressed, anxious, have insecure relationships, and be stuck developmentally in their life. Adults who are alienated as children have a reduced ability to get along with other people and have healthy, mature relationships. The reason? The favored parent created a dependency which interrupted the normal development of critical thinking skills and ability to resolve conflict. Alienating parents teach children the opposite of what healthy parents teach their children. They never learn to resolve conflict in a respectful way because they never learn the good values of forgiveness, generosity, and compassion. It's fairly settled science that exposure to alienation is associated with bad outcomes. Causing parental alienation in a child is a form of psychological maltreatment. To learn more about parental alienation strategies, watch the video 17 Parental Alienation Strategies of One Parent Against Another.
We go by many names. Dad, Padre, sometimes old man. Usually it's Daddy. Daddy's the favorite. But they all mean the same thing. They all mean father, a man in relationship with his children. We're the Father's Rights Movement. Because every child deserves a father. We're working for justice in the family court system. Support father's rights. Come join us today.
Dear Mom and Dad, I know that you are hurting. I'm hurting too. I feel and feed off your tension, fear, and shock. Although I am young and cannot express verbally what is happening in our lives, I am still feeling the impact. My heart is broken every time I have to give up a parent. My sense of security is lost. Please don't assume that I am resilient. Please don't assume that my life will be exactly as it was, and that I will continue to feel the same love from both of you. I am a human being just like you. My needs are just like yours. I need love, attention, nurturing, stability, consistency, affection, understanding, patience, and mostly to be wanted. When you fight over me or put me in the middle of your argument, you are sending me the message that winning with each other is more important than my life. I am learning from you that it is better to be right than to be loved. You are teaching me that I came from a person who is unlovable and wrong, and that I am somehow wrong too. When you confide your hurt in my heart, you are storing up adult pain and robbing me of my childhood. You are taking away my belief that love is unconditional and replacing it with a message that tells me to become hard and not to love because I will get hurt and not be able to recover. You may not understand this today, and I am so small that you are not thinking about my future, but you are putting me at a greater risk of getting a divorce myself. At times you are risking my safety to fill a void in your heart. My safety is your job. Without you and your protection, I am unshielded from the world. This will manifest in irrational fears for me, because I will stay in a state of fight or flight for most of my life. Someday, this initial shock will wear off, but how you choose to parent me through this crisis will never wear off. I will either feel your sense of selflessness, support, protection, or I will have a scar on my heart with a message that reads, Good things happen to good people. I must be bad. Thoughtfully, the child of divorce.
I just wasn't going to allow my kids to grow up without their father.
And having absolutely no relationship with him, it hurts. It really does.
I'm a business owner. I'm an elected official. But the courts didn't think I was good enough to raise my kids.
There could be no system that would be designed to hurt the family more than the family court system in its present form.
They're not protecting the kids because they are cutting one parent out of the life of a child just because two adults can't get along.
What do people do when their children are taken away? And she said they pay their child support and shut up and walked away. And I thought that was the most accurate encapsulation of my experience in family court.
I've been through 43 false allegations, not one conviction, not one arrest.
Lawyers, judges have financial gain. Social workers and people that are in the community, our jobs really is to clean up after the mess that happens from courtrooms.
Has the family court system damaged your relationship with your child?
I think we're back
Were you
up.
shocked by how little due process there was? You're not alone, and now you can be part of the solution.
Let me know if we're...
For the last 11 years, Mark Ludwig has led the charge for shared parenting reform. He's met face-to-face with over 700 legislators.
Oh, okay. I guess we're finally live. I apologize, guys. I was trying to squeeze in a bite during the intermission. I apologize for the glitch. I appreciate everybody being flexible. There's always times where something comes up. I appreciate Brian working so hard behind the scenes to keep everything running on the Twitch, on the YouTube, and on the Facebook. Apparently, the YouTube channel gets much better reception than the Facebook channel does. Apparently, the majority of glitches are on Facebook. If you guys are wanting to watch, I think if you go to the YouTube channel, you're going to get a lot better reception. YouTube channel is STL Mark Ludwig. So STL Mark Ludwig on YouTube and Twitch. Brian, if you can put in the bottom what your Twitch account is, I'm not sure. So I'm not sure here. So it looks like we are still glitching. If you're watching on Facebook, we're going to come back on only on YouTube and Twitch. So if you want to, we need you to go to YouTube or Twitch. The YouTube channel is for sure STL Mark Ludwig. So STL Mark Ludwig on YouTube, because apparently YouTube and it's just Facebook that's having the glitches. I think we're going to log off now and then relog on YouTube. Brian, let me know. Do I need to relog off then and relog back on again? Or stay here? Okay. All right. So I'm going to relog off. Everything's going to log off again and log back on. If you're watching on Facebook, please go to YouTube or Twitch. The YouTube is Mark Ludwig. So Mark Ludwig on YouTube.